Okay, guys, stay with me, please. Here we go. Okay, we're on the sugya on Daf Lamed Ches on the base in Masechta Baba, Masechta Yevamot. And we have a Mishnah. The Mishnah says that a Shemeres Yavam that falls to Nechasim, if she's alive, she goes ahead and sells it. If she dies, Beis Shammai says Yechloku. The Gemara has a problem. What's the difference in the Reisha and the Sefer? Why in the Reisha does she have total rights, and why in the Sefer does she not have total rights? We have a four-way machlokes between Abaya and Rava, between Ula, Rabba, Abaya, and Rava. Now, if I had remembered to record, I would tell you what Ula and Rabba say, but I won't. I'll just tell you what Abaya and Rabbi say. Abaya says it's speaking where it falls to her when she's Shemeres Yavam, and when it's supposed to when she's a Nesua. If it falls to when she's Shemeres Yavam, he has no rights in it. If it falls to when she's a Nesua, he has rights in it. Therefore, those rights he bequeaths to his brother, but not fully because it's a suffix, and therefore it'll only get Yechloku. According to Rabbi says, no, you never got to the status of Nesua because of the Nesua, and then they have full rights in it. It's speaking about Shemeres Yavam, and they did Maimer, didn't do Maimer. If they didn't do Maimer, then the woman retains total rights. If you do Maimer, like Beis Shammai, who says Maimer is Kaina Kinyan Gomor, therefore what the husband had right, the Shemeres Yavam has rights in it, and therefore Yechloku. Hashem came if like Beis Hillel that Maimer is not Kaina and Maimer is not strong, right? It would remain becheskas of the woman. It remained that chazaka. Okay, let's just see it in the words over here. It says Abaya Amar Reisha the Nafula Kashi Yeshmeres Yavam Sefer Nafula Kashi Tachtis Baal. Ksava Abaya Yada Ki Yada Amle Rava Ida Nafula Kashahi Tachtav Baal Kuli Amle Pligi Yada Yadifmi Yada Ela Ida Vidi the Nafula Mishki Shemeres Yavam Reisha the Yavam B'Maima Sefer Davar B'Maima Ksava Rava Maima Beishami Isa Bada Yerusa the Suffolk Nesua Bada Yerusa Litches Bitsara the Suffolk Nesua Achlus Ben Chasim. It mamish made Rebbe Lasa Kavase the Rava, like Rava. We have a Rebbe Lasa saying a Bryce like Rava. It mamish made the Rebbe Yossi, Rebbe Yechanina Kavase the Baya. So we have maflekes between. We have a Bryce is substantiating both. Umiyam Rebbe Lasa Hachi that according to Rava that Maim you'd say that Beis Shammai says that Maim is Kaina and therefore what? Therefore you would get a piece of the action. We're going to see the limitations of Maim like Beis Shammai. What Maimah does is it makes what? That the tzara can marry. But vis-a-vis the property, it doesn't bring into the rishus. So Fred Gemara Kasha. According to you, Rava, that Beis Shammai says Maimah is kaina, and that's why she has better after you have a better right in better rights in the property because you did Maimah. Beis Shammai doesn't say that. Beis Shammai says the limitation of Maimah is that what? It'll pat the tzara, but vis-a-vis the property, you don't get any better rights. So what kind of teretz is Rava giving? Says my Epach, switch it around, Rabbi Yossi B'Chanina, and switch around Rabbi Laza. That's one pshat. A second pshat, v'ibay sema, lo'ilam, lo'i tepach, lo'ilam, lo'i tepach, lo'ilam does switch it around, and Rabbi Laza is going in the sheet of Rava. Amlach Rabbi Laza, and ki armi anod. When do I say that it's only litches the tzara, le'sagila beget, meaning that he has to do get and chalitza. But lachlan chasim like kanim yamid. Did I say you're not kanim the chasim? In other words, you are kanim the chasim. In other words, I just was focusing on one aspect. And in achinami the inyan and the chasim, you would be kanim with maimer, and therefore the if the husband dies, the baal would be he'll get part of the action, the suffix. Amar Papa, the Yukid Basis and Kavasi the Abaya. The dik of the Mishnah is like Abaya. Again, Abaya's teretz is speaking when Shemeres Yavam. That if it fell to when she was Shemeres Yavam, and then what it fell to when she was married. That's the teretz, right? That's his teretz. That the Reish is speaking where it fell when she was Shemeres Yavam, and the Seif is speaking when it fell when she was married. What does it say? The kasha mesa. Even though you have a kasha mesa, and we'll see what the kasha of mesa is. It's basically the same kasha that Rabba had anula. The Tani nechasim and nechnasim v'yotzim ima. The Mishnah said, guys. Nechasim that go in with her, the yotzim imar and go out with her. My nechnasim umay yotzim lav nechnasul rishus habal is not speaking where it went into the rishus habal, meaning she was married, like Abaya said that it's speaking when she was in the suah when she inherited it. The yotzim rishus bal rishus av, and it goes out from the rishus habal from the rishus of when he dies. when he dies, when the husband dies, it goes out of the rishus of him and goes to the rishus of, well, we go to her normally, but she dies, so we go to her yarshim. Ula'acha misa. Okay. The afagav the kasha mesa, even though you have the kasha of misa, pirish adamiflagi begufa ula'acha misa liflug bechayehu uleperis besulay midi. Guys, outside. Loida baya, the fact that she dies doesn't really influence the halacha. It only influences the halacha transferring the cheshbin from the peris to the guf of the karka. I'll explain. If she's alive and she gets property, then the husband gets the peris. That's the din. Now, if the husband dies and he has yarshim, if the husband dies, so what? So the question is do they retain rights to the peris? In other words, I could have said that here's what happens. The husband dies, she falls to Yibum now, right? And now the shaila is the husband's Yairish, meaning the brother, does he have rights to the peris or not? Why? Because since he was married and he had the peris, does he give it over to the brother who's going to do Yibum? Did she die? No. If it fell to her when she was Shemeres Yavam and the husband never got a piece of the action, then it's not his. So I just explained the halacha of the Mishnah, not vis-a-vis the karka, which he would only get if the woman dies. I explained it vis-a-vis the peris and the woman's still alive. So if your whole chiddush over here was the difference between property that fell to her when she was Shemeres, when she was not married yet, and property that fell to her when she was married, then you don't have to tell me a din in Mesa that she died. All Mesa did was it took the shaila on the peris and brought it to the gufa karka itself. So says Rapapa, despite the fact that I have that question, the suloi midi, and there's no answer to that question, our Mishnah is meduyik like a bias teretz, because it says the nechasim that go in and go out. It's going in when she's married, and it's going away from the husband to the when he dies. That's the Mishnah. So, and we have a question. Then why'd you learn Mesa? You could have said the same achloikas by Peris. For Sulay Midi, there's no kasha, and that was basically the same kasha that Rabbi had on Ulis Pshat yesterday, or even today before I messed it up and didn't record this. Okay, says the Gemara Vayta. Okay, says the Gemara Vayta. The Mishnah said, "Kansa harhi ki isha l'chol dava." If he marries her, she's like an isha l'chol dava. In other words, his full-fledged wife. My hilcha, so why you say she's a full-fledged wife? Rabbi Yosef Chanina, loymar shemigarsha beget. Just one second. Okay, we're up to the two dots on Lamed Tes Amud Aleph in the middle of the page. Lamed Tes Amud Aleph in the middle of the page. If he marries us like an isha l'chol dava, l'may hilchasa, regarding what halacha is she an isha l'chol dava? Rabbi Yosef Chanina loymar shemigarsha beget. But he divorces her with a get, umachzira, and he goes ahead and can take her back. Now, guys, this is a real big chiddush. Guys, let's say the two chiddushim. You have a woman falling to Yibum, and the brother does Yibum. He does Yibum. Says our Mishnah, once he does Yibum, it's a full-fledged wife. What halacha do you mean by stating it's a full-fledged wife? Says the Gemara that now you could divorce her with a get. What's the havamina? You'd still need chalitza. Very unbelievable havamina. The get takes care of your kedushin. You would have a havamina. You need chalitza to take care of the zika of the brother. Kamash malon, your marriage does both. That's the chiddush. Umach zira, and you could take her back. I'd have a following havamina, and it's a very strong havamina. I would have thought that since it's a heter of eshes ish, you did the mitzvah, the makkah mitzvah, great. Once you did the mitzvah, you don't get a second dibs. In other words, once you divorce her, she's back to being what she always was, your brother's wife. Kamash Malon, that no, she's a full-fledged isha, even to the extent of taking her back. It's a nice chiddush of the Gemara. Says the Gemara inside. Kansa hayu kish l'chol davar. Hilchasa. Of course, you need to get. It says you should take it as an isha. And do yibum amrachmana v'adayin yevume harishon alecha. It says v'yibma, so I might think that since the yibum of the brother, the first brother, the zik is still there, Allah and chalitza in beget lo, meaning with chalitza in addition to a get, but a get alone not. Kamash Malon, a get alone does the job. Once you did yibum, that breaks the zika. There's no connection whatsoever to the first husband.
It has to be. What's the havamina? All the other sisters getting married already. So how could you need chalitza? The other brothers. Sorry, the other sisters, the other chalutzas, they're all getting married. So how could you think that he's going to need a chalitza?
I would say the following. I would say as long as you're married, once vis-a-vis them, they're a cheri darchei noham. So therefore, that breaks the zika to allow them to get married. But vis-a-vis you, I would say 1 second. You did this, but now to get rid of what you. In other words, when you got married, you were buying the bias, so that takes care of that. You can't have a havmina that the zika possibly can go ahead to the extent to be strong enough to hold them all back. But vis-a-vis you, since you did it, maybe enachinami, you would need that chalitza. But vis-a-vis the other brothers, I would tell you no. That that would not be derechei darchei noam. No, it's keeping a state of suspended animation. All these sisters waiting, maybe he's going to divorce her. You're asking Mamish if the Zika is not gone yet, so how can we marry? And the answer is the Zika is only vis-a-vis him, this silent, this to get rid of that. Says the Gemara, Machzira Pshita, you could take her back. Says the one, this is a very havamid. Sakalei Chaminan, mitzvah derami rachmana leha, of the Torah gave her a mitzvah to do. He did the mitzvah. Hashta take him Allah b'Yisrei shesach. But once the mitzvah is over, because you divorced her, maybe now it comes down to issue that she was before him, which is Eishasach. Kamash Malon, now what? That it doesn't. Says Gemara Ve'imachinami. That seems to be a very, 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 very strong havamina. Let's say Einachinami. Einachinami. Guys, we said Eishasach. We began this Masechta with saying Yibum is an unbelievable mitzvah. You have an Issa Karis and the Torah is mattering it. The Torah is mattering an Issa Karis. It's unbelievable. It's mamish unbelievable. We had a whole sugya, essay. We had dafim and dafim. Allah, it's unbelievable chiddush. So I might think, when you do the mitzvah, the makkah mitzvah, you could do it. But once the mitzvah is gone, she's gone. Says the Gemara, let's say Einachinami. Says Makra, we got a pasuk. Guys, it's such a strong havamina. You needed a pasuk to tell me no. You needed a pasuk to tell me no. You needed a pasuk to tell me that no, she's a full-fledged wife. Why does it say in the Torah? V'lacha loy leisha, kivan shalacha. Since the yavam takes her, harihu ki ishtay lechol davar. It says v'lacha leisha. The pasuk tells me it's an isha lechol davar, and therefore what? Just like a regular woman, if you divorce her and she doesn't marry somebody else, you could take her back. Hu adin your yevama. As long as she doesn't marry somebody else, you could take her back. Now, obviously, if you're a kohen, you can't. Obviously, if you're kohen, you can't. But again, here. Now we said the last thing of the Mishnah. Who is the ksuba on? The ksuba is on the first, and then the chasim of the first husband. Now, guys, the ksuba is the dinei monistic adin. In other words, we happen to be learning hilchas ishos. We're learning in the Masechta Seder Nashim. Yevamot is found in hilchas. It's in the Rambam and hilchas ishos. It's found, but when it comes to collecting a ksuba, that's a monetary contract. You have a lien on your property because you owe this woman money. She has a shtar. It's called a ksuba. Good. Whose property is that lien on? The dead husband's. Therefore, what? Says the Gemara. My timer, why is it on the dead husbands? Isha hiknu lomin shemayim. Right? That the Torah was marking this guy to the Yavam, some of Shemayim, and not to be Mishabin is the chas of the ksuba. And therefore, therefore she could sell it. Says Gemara, says the Gemara, however, if in fact the first person has no property, then tiknule misheni. They were metaken to get a ksuba from the sheni. Part of the ksuba is to give a security. that gets angry at his wife, he's not going to divorce her because it's going to cost the money. So therefore, in order to ensure after he does yibum, even though the ksuba is not able to be collected from the first husband because he was poor, right? We would give him a taken ksuba from the second husband. Okay, a little easier. A little easier. Mitzvah legadol yabim. It's a mitzvah for the gadol to do yibum. Mitzvah legadol yabim. It's a mitzvah legadol to do yibum. Loi ratza. If the gadol doesn't want to do yibum, mahalchin al kol achin. You go to all the brothers. Loi ratzu. If they do not want to do pashtus yibum or chalitza, chayzun etzel gadol. Vayim loi. Alecha mitzvah. On you is the mitzvah. Oy chalitza yibim. Either one. Tala b'katan. Asher gadol. If he says, listen, I don't want to do anything, but again, wait till this young one grows up and he'll do it for you. We say, no, I don't want to do anything. Let's wait for the gadol to come back from Medina Sayyam. Or wait till the cherish shaita they get wise or they get healthier. Ain't shayim loy. We don't listen to him, and we say oimim loy alecha mitzvah chalitza yibim. Either do chalitza or do yibim. So we're beginning with the God. Okay, to the next sugya is very interesting. If you understand this chakira, it really explains it beautifully, the whole sugya. Now, we all view yibum as a mitzvah. Yevama yava alaha. It's a mitzvah to do yibum. Clearly, it's a mitzvah. How do you view chalitza? Do you view chalitza as a mitzvah? Meaning, there's two mitzvahs over here. If I don't do one, I do the other. Or do you view chalitza not as a mitzvah? You view it as a matir. You view it as something that allows someone to go ahead and get married. In other words, she is bound by a zika. Chalitza is not bound as a mitzvah. Chalitza is cutting a chain. It's cutting off the electrical circuit that connects you. So we don't view it as a mitzvah. We view it as a matir. That is a chakira in the achronim, how to possibly look at chalitza. And with that in mind, when we do the sugya, we'll see the machloikas in how to view it would very much depend whether chalitza is a mitzvah or chalitza is a matir. We're all moida that chalitza is b'di'evet. Really, the mitzvah is yibum. Chalitza is b'di'evet. So now that I do it, am I doing a mitzvah or am I just matering the fact that there's a zika there? Says the Gemara. With this in mind, it makes a lot of sense, the Gemara. Says the Gemara. Itmar. BS Kotin, the Chalitzas Gadol. Now I have an option. I can have a younger brother. This cut means a younger brother. It doesn't mean a Kotin. It means a brother, meaning as opposed to the Gadol, but this is a person over 13 in a day. BS Kotin, the Chalitzas Gadol, which is greater? The Bia of a Kotin or the Chalitzas of a Gadol? So Pligi bar of Yechon and Rabbi Shua ben Levi, Chad Omar BS Kotin Adifa, the Chad Omar Chalitzas Kotin Gadol Adifa. Now, manda ama bias kot nadifa, the mitzvah beibam. Umanda ama chalitza gadol adifa, b'makam gadol bias cotton lav klumhu. I think if you use this chakir, is very geschmack, guys. If you tell me that chalitza is just a matir, so the bia of a cotton, which is a mitzvah of yibum, would go ahead and be more important than the chalitza of a gadol. But if you view chalitza as a mitzvah, then the gadol, again, he has a mitzvah. So therefore, if it's a mitzvah by the gadol, maybe it takes precedence over the yibum of a cotton, because we know there's a mitzvah by the gadol. So using that chakira will make us understand the studim of machlokes between Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. Tanan, let's go. We're going to go both ways, guys. Tanan, leirotza. If he doesn't want to do yibum, machsirina kol achin, you go over all the brothers. This is our Mishnah. My lav leirotza liyabim ela lachleitz. Does it not mean that he doesn't want to do yibum, but he wants to do chalitza? Fiketani mahalchen etzel achim, and we're going to the brothers. Shmamino bias kotin adifa. Fellas, now we learned he doesn't want to do anything. But in the Havamina now, he doesn't want to do yibum. What does he want to do? Chalitza. And what does the Mishnah say? Go to the younger brothers. So obviously, why are we going to the younger brothers? Because it must be the bia of a younger brother doing yibum takes precedence over the gadol doing chalitza. That would be a riot to that man the Yom holds that way. Says Gemara loy. No. He doesn't want to do anything. Good. So if he does, like we learned, he doesn't want to do anything, we'll go to the brothers. Now, the Kavasi got achin, so the brothers also then loy ratzu and loy lechleitz for loy liabim means they don't want to do anything either. So now, amay chayzun esil hagadol. Why do you go back to the gadol? Guys, once if you're going to tell me that chalitza is a matir, why are we bothering going back bezdin? Just give chalitza. In other words, bishlema, if it's a mitzvah, I can understand why you go back to the gadol, correct? But if it's a matir, why are you going back to the gadol? His chalitza is not any better than your chalitza. Why are you bothering bezdin? It's a matir, right? You just want to break a zika. The younger brother can just as easily break the zika as the older one if you're holding it's a matir. Says the Gemara, very geschmack, guys. Even the mitzvah Allah didei ramya, since the mitzvah of yibum is upon him, didei kafin, we go ahead and force it to him. Why? That's very geschmack. So since it's a mitzvah, then who? If chalitza is a mitzvah, who does the mitzvah? The oldest brother. So using that chakira, it fits in beautifully in the Gemara like a glove. Mamish, go ahead and explain the different studim of the Shaila. Tanan, the Mishnah said, Tola b'katan. If you say, listen, no, I don't want to give you yibum chalitza, but I got a younger brother. Wait till he gets old, at sheyagdil, and he'll go ahead and be miyabim. Ain't shoymim lo. You don't go ahead and listen. V'i bias katan adifa. Amayin shoymim lo. Ninter dilma gadol miyabim. Go ahead, wait till he gets older, and maybe he'll do yibum. Ella must be that what that the chalitza of a gadol is better than the yibum of a katan. Conversely, when we say wait till the gadol comes back from Medina Sayyam, ain't shaymim loy amai ninter. Let's wait. Dilma asi v'chalitz. Maybe he's going to come along wide and do chalitza. Maybe he's going to come along and do chalitza. What do you have to conclude? Kol shiui mitzvah mishahinan. Any time to go ahead and delay a mitzvah, we're not going to delay a mitzvah. So therefore, we're not going to delay it for a katan to get older. We're not going to delay it for a gadol to come back from Medina Sayyam. Is the army other say the following? No. The bia, when it comes to the bia, yibum, kulyamale pligi, the bia is katan adifa. It's better than chalitza, which is the way I think all of us understood it. If we hold, guys, the mitzvahs with yibum, and even if you can hold chalitza as a mitzvah, it's a b'di'evid mitzvah. It's only a mitzvah when what? When you don't do yibum. It's only a mitzvah when you don't do yibum. So therefore, we'd all agree that the bia of a younger brother is better than the chalitza of an older brother. Ki pligi b'chalitzas cotton. By the machlokes is what? By the chalitzas of a cotton and the chalitzas of a gadol. That's the shaila. V'achi etmar. Chalitzas cotton v'chalitzas gadol. Pligi bo Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. Chad oma chalitzas gadol adifa. Chad oma ki adadi ninu. Guys, what? Wouldn't this chakira be beautiful, guys? Guys, listen. What's the chakira? Is chalitza a mitzvah or not? Or is it a matir? Like the man the Amar that the chalitza of a gadol is better because it's a mitzvah. Like the man the Amar that it's a matir, therefore ki adadininu. Who cares? Whichever one does it. Again, it just explains the whole sugya so well. Again, if chalitza is just to cut the zika, whoever's holding the scissors, there's no. It could be the oldest brother, the younger brother. Just cut it with the scissor. It doesn't make a difference. Elamah. What do you have to say? That it must be that it's a mitzvah, or no, or it's not the same. Anyway, that's the shaila. Man the chalitzas gadol adifa the mitzvah begadol. The idach ki amin mitzvah begadol in yibum. Only yibum is there a mitzvah. Avol in chalitza ki adadin because it's only a matir. Tanan leiratza. We're going to go through this shaila with our Mishnah. Leiratzu, if they don't want. You go back to the gadol. My lav leiratzu liyabe doesn't mean that what they don't want to do yibum. Elo lachleit, they want to do chalitza. The katani chaysim eitz gadol, and you're going back for the gadol to do chalitza. Ushmam el chalitzas gadol latifa. Says no lie. Leiratzu let's lie. They don't want to do anything. We're going back to the gadol because not only because they don't want to do yibum, they don't want to do chalitza either. So there's no bearing on our shaila. Now, however, the kavasi gabe gadol that he also leiratzu lichleitz v'leiliyabing. Elamai chaysim eitz gadol. Same question. Why do you go back to the gadol? Let's the last brother. Let's force him to do chalitza. Says the mitzvah. We forced what? We forced the older brother. Tashma. Tola begadol at sheyavim medina sayom. We say, listen, just wait till the gadol comes medina sayom. And shayim lo, we don't listen to him. Bisak the chalitzas gadol adifa. Amayin shayim lo. Nimto dilma asi v'chalitz. Maybe it's better. So wait till he comes back. Says because not sheyagdol and shayim lo amay nimto dilma gadol miyabim. Why don't you wait till the gadol the cotton grows up and maybe he'll go ahead and do yibum. What do you have to say? We cannot delay a mitzvah, and there's no bearing on a shaila, and therefore we have this machlokes, and we haven't proven either way. Tan Hatzim. Okay, just to conclude the Gemara, use the Gemara. Tan Hatzim. Mitzvah yibum kodemis the mitzvah chalitza. As we all thought, the mitzvah of yibum comes before. Here they're calling it openly the mitzvah of chalitza. And what? This was said in the earlier generations because the people miyabein do mechavim for the mitzvah. In other words, it seems to be, as we saw Abba Shol's din, when you live with your sister-in-law, it has to be totally to go ahead and bring your brother's neshama back into the world. That's it. It can't be because you have a desire for your sister-in-law. It can't be because she's pretty. It can't be any other reason. It has to be totally the shema. So in the earlier generations, it's possible that they had such kavanah. Right? Achshav, this is the guys in the time of the Gemara. Achshav, in the time of the Gemara, she'ein mechavim l'shem mitzvah. Now in the time of the Gemara, they're not mechavim l'shem mitzvah. Omru, mitzvah chalitza kodemis the mitzvah yibum. The mitzvah chalitza comes before the mitzvah of yibum. That you do chalitza first. Amar Rav. Rav says what? Even the generation of Rav ain't kaif, and we won't force a person to do yibum. If he wants to, yes. If not, not. Ki yasa l'kamei the Rav. When they come in front of Rav, amalahu iboyes chalitz iboyes yibum. I'll leave it up to you. B'didach tali rachman. It's totally up to you because it says v'm lo yachbutz ish if the person doesn't want. Mashma ha'im chafetz if he does want. Then he could do yibum. Rabbi Yehuda Sava, even Rabbi Yehuda, that's if they want to both do yibum and kaifin, we don't force them to do chalitza. Asking Rabbi Yehuda begita de chalitza, when Rabbi Yehuda was metaking in the lashon of the chalitza, here's what the lashon was: Eich, that's I, plainis bas plaini. This is the Yevamot. Plainis bas plaini. Ikrabis, I was called to Bezdin. Yas ploni Yevama by my Yevama. Kodma lebeidina before Bezdin. V'ishtamai da'inu, and it was clear. This v'ishtamodina means it became clear to us that what dachu the misna me'abaninu, that he was a paternal brother. V'amrimila itzavis liyabem yibem v'mloi itla la raglech liyamina. Go ahead and incline your shoe so she can take off your shoe. Ve'idle ragli yamina, he inclined the shoe. V'shar Sina, and she took it off his shoe. Ve'ar ragli from the foot. Ve'yarkis, this is the lashon of the chalitza in the bezdin of Rabbi Yehuda. Ve'yarkas ban payish, she spit in front of him. Roika de mischasi the beidina alara, spit that can be seen on the ground by the bezdin. Rabbi Barava Messiah, he would Messiah the lashon, and he would say Mishmei de Rabbi Yehuda. And she read in front of him, I dechsiv b'seifa araisa, the Moshe, the Pasha she read in Hebrew, right? That my Yevami doesn't. This is what happens. The Kurasa basically Yisrael based cholotz now. So let's go. What is the lashon of ishtamoidinu? What does that mean, ishtamoidinu? That means that what? That is clearly you've proved that what it was a paternal brother. So pligi bar Ravacha Ravina Chad Omar one says the Eidim. You need Eidim to say it's a paternal brother. You need Eidim to say it's a paternal brother. The Chad Omar, and one said, Afilu Korav, Afilu Isha, we believe to say that he's a paternal brother. Why? Because it's only Gila Milsa Ba'alma. It's not Eidis. Hilchas said Allah is Gila Milsa Ba'alma, who would just be Megala something, and that what Afilu Korav, Afilu Isha would be permitted to say that what that it is a paternal brother. Okay, it's late. We'll stop over here. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you. Okay, tomorrow the schedule.